Let's also bring in LA Times legal affairs columnist and former U.S. Attorney Harry Litman. Now, while we saw Lisa describe what she saw from the overflow room, you, Harry, were actually inside the courtroom. And so much of what you saw and experienced are things that are being processed, potentially even now, by members of the jury. And so we want you to take us inside that room, what you saw, what you felt, and any interaction between the president and Stormy Daniels and that jury.
I can speak to the first. There wasn't any, but there was a lot to see, especially with the jury. We're talking about a very, very colorful witness who detailed kinds of events and just efforts and ways of being that I think for the jury were fairly foreign. She spoke very quickly, nervously. She told a lot of jokes, and not all of them landed. As Lisa said, Merchan was quick to sustain objections and clearly thought there was too much detail being given to the jury. I watched the jury very carefully, and I thought in particular there were 3 or 4 who were maybe not with her, and others who were. All the basics of Michael Cohen's story, everything we've heard so far, she substantiates. But she does this in a very wild, sort of super colorful way that I think for some of the jurors maybe made their heads spin a bit. And there is this basic question about, she almost seems to have experienced the sex itself as sort of surreal, yet a year ensues where she continues to be in touch with them, and she says the ultimate NDA she wanted to enter into because she was afraid based on a encounter in a parking lot that Trump was trying to actually silence her, and she wanted him out of the picture as well. She disclaimed money having anything really to do with it. My basic feeling is like, wow, this is a colorful, maybe hyper-colorful witness.
But how much was the jury also watching Donald Trump and maybe his reaction to some of those very just, let's say, details of that sexual encounter?
Right. So I looked for that pretty carefully. It was mainly on Stormy. They were taking her in. I was looking at Trump some, and he had a general kind of impassiveness, not glowering exactly, but obviously not happy. But the basic dynamic was jury to Stormy, and then again, I haven't seen Merchan in this trial be so sort of irritated, and it came across, I think, as being irritated with her level of detail. That's something, if you're the DA, you're worried about, because you don't want them to think that he, the judge, is actually displeased in any way with the witness.
So, Harry, what's your bottom line as an experienced prosecutor? Is this witness too colorful and not sympathetic to many people on this jury, or is it too early to tell because of how explicit her testimony was?
Yeah.
And, you know, the money that's involved in all of that, which is clearly going to be the focus of the cross-examination.
Yeah. So my bottom line, Andrea, she does what she needs to do by substantiating everything. But I do think there will be at least a few jurors who are not crazy about her, who just don't know what to make of her. And that itself isn't good. But when you think of the basic story they've been painting, she doesn't undermine it at all. It is going to be a bruising cross-examination. They have a lot to work with. My bottom line is it went fine, but there were eyebrows raised in the jury, and I'm sure still in the jury room now.
Harry Litman, thank you so much for your unique perspective to be in the courtroom on such a dramatic day.